everyone. I am back today to share with you how I'm putting together day 2 in my December daily album. This is going to be the story about advent calendars. So if you recall, I am working on the back of this page from day 1. So it's a full-size photo page, going to be backed with another full-size photo. So the measurements of this are 6.75 by 8.25. And so what I've done is I put together all of our advent calendars, and this year my husband and I decided to start a new tradition of getting our nieces and nephews. We currently have 4 nieces and nephews, an advent calendar every year. And so this is that story. So I put together all of the advent calendars. Ours and we got one for our dog Ruby, are also included in this photo. And in the journaling as well. So what I've got here is the full page photo of all of our advent calendars before I wrapped them up and gave them to the kids. And then I've got these little 2x3 photos of all of the kiddos. I'm missing one of my nephew. I'm waiting on a fresh print from fresh photo from my sister for that. So I've got one of each of the kids. I also printed off these little guys that look like sort of gift tags that have their name, their age, and what advent calendar they got, because I thought that would be a fun way to sort of document this story each year. My journaling printed on photo paper with a colored background. I've pulled the large felt number 2, the sort of gold stitched number 2, because I thought that would look pretty great as my number for the day, right in the center of the photo. And then I've pulled a couple of other things that I think I might want to embellish with. The sticker tabs or tab stickers. I'm thinking I want to have my journaling pull out from the top of the page, so one of these may work well. And then maybe something from here. I liked the starting new stories. I didn't really have anything that was about new traditions in my collection that as far as I looked. So starting new stories might be what I go with for that. And so my plan is that this is going to be my left-hand side of the spread. And then on the right-hand side of the spread, I'm going to use some white, this is Basil Avalanche cardstock, so it's textured, to add the photos on and then cover them up. I'm going to cut all of these to be tags. Morgan Beale did something similar for the Together story kit for the creative team for Allie Edwards recently, and I just kind of loved that idea. So this will be a full page, and then these little tags will sort of spin up so you can see the photo underneath. So let's get to work. So I've already cut all of my photos and things. I just need to cut down this paper. And again, I'm going to cut this down to be the same size as the page protectors in my album. So I want this to be 6.75 by 8.25. And I'm going to go ahead and punch my holes now because I want to make sure that I leave space for them and don't get, it's going to be a tight fit with these 2x3 tags. And so I want to make sure that I have room for everything there. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it this time around, which is always a great idea, right? All right. So then what I'm going to do, some of these need just a little bit of trimming up. They've got some white around the edge that I kind of missed. All right, so let's lay out their photos first. Oops. Let's see, I had this sort of mapped out how I was going to do this in my Photoshop file. Yeah, there we go. All So Bryn, and then my niece Bailey, and my nephew will go there. Hopefully I have enough room. We can use his tag as a placeholder. Yeah, see, it's going to be a real tight fit, but I think that's okay. I'm going to try to give it as much space as I can. And then Finn, and then Ruby, or Ruby and I. All right, so what I then think I maybe want to do is some sort of title. I didn't think about how much space I would have left down here, but maybe stamping out like Countdown to Christmas or something like that. Maybe using these guys might work well. Yeah, I think those will fit really well, actually. All right, so I think I'm going to adhere photos down first. Let's just slide this guy out of the way, because then that'll give me exactly how much spacing I have for everything. All right, so I'm just going to use my rolling adhesive and get these photos in place on the grid so that I know sort of what I've got to work with. Oh no, don't do that yet, because I'm going to cut them into tag shapes first. Wouldn't that just be fantastic? Do all that work and then not remember to cut them out. This is just a tag from my stash that I am going to use as a template to cut all the edges. I like to do that so that I know where to punch. I'm also going to use, am I going to use a punch? No, because I am going to use a paper piercer to pierce the holes for the brads. So I'll just grab, this is just a foam mat. This is from Stampin' Up. It's a like piercing mat. And so I'm just gonna use that and my paper piercing tool to pierce a hole where the brad will go to hold that in place, and realizing I can go just a smidge higher with that if I want to. So let's cut this down. And actually, I can probably just use this as a template now, since it's roughly the same size. This one may need to be trimmed down just a hair, but let's see her tag first. So I made these tags just in Photoshop. I just created a little canvas that was 2 by 3, the size that I wanted, 2 inches by 3 inches. And just sort of made the little template, and then I changed out the colors for each one so that there's some variety, and changed out the type, or, you know, the text and what the text says. So let's see, these two will go together, and that actually works pretty perfectly. I'm okay if you can see sort of some of it through there. Sorry, I think I'll get into a process here in a second. All right. Okay, so let's pair these up so I don't get don't get confused. Am I missing one? Oh, there's 2 stuck here. All right, there we go. Now I can start adhering them down. So we can leave a little bit more space at the top because now I realize I have that space. Trying to make it as straight as possible, but I'm not particularly, I'm not too worried about that. So I'm going to set these tags aside for a minute and focus on my stamping. So these are the December Daily Alphas from Allie Edwards' shop for Christmas. And I'm kind of in love with them. So what I've got here, this is just a Stampin' Scrub. It's another Stampin' Up! Product that I have always used and sort of swear by for getting my stamps nice and clean and keeping them in good shape. I'm just going to move my album so I have a little bit more space. And so the way it works, and if you've seen some of my stamping videos before, you may have seen this, but the way it works is I've got this Stampin' Mist. This is just an old bottle that I keep refilling. You sort of spray it. It's a cleaner and stamp conditioner that works great on rubber stamps and the clear stamps. So I like to use that because I like to keep my stamps. My stamps are an investment, and so I like to keep them as clean and in good shape as possible. So I want to do countdown. I think that will all fit. Only one way to find out, right? Now comes the tricky part of trying to decide what color to stamp in. And I'd like to do to Christmas, so it sort of says countdown to Christmas on it. All right, so I'm gonna stamp out each letter, first in pink. These are Stampin' Up! Inks, and I just have a collection of them. Some of them are still current, some of them are no longer available colors. This is one called Pink Pirouette, and it's a really nice light pink. All right, and so I'm gonna sort of stamp that out here, and then what I'm gonna do is stamp the red, which is another Stampin' Up! Ink. It's pretty much primarily the ink that I use in, this one's in Cherry Cobbler. And sort of do this so that it is a little stacked so that you can sort of see like a shadow. So you can see the pink and the red. This is not the best paper to stamp on because of the texture of it, but I like the texture sort of up here rather than just a flat white, and so I am okay with the stamping not being perfect, in quotes. Stamping shouldn't be perfect anyway, as far as I'm concerned. All right, so I decided to speed this up a little bit just to save some of your time. So what you'll see me doing here is stamping out the letters using the alpha stamps. And there's a little bit of texture you'll be able to see that comes through from the paper, but that's fine. I kind of like that. And so what I'm doing here is actually like priming the stamps. So the clear stamps, when they come, when they are manufactured, they have some sort of a residue on them. And so I like to prime them by rubbing them like on the palm of my hand for a minute, and you can sort of feel the stickiness to them when you do that. And then I rub them through my Stampin' Scrub to sort of clean any residue that might have come from my hand or oils that come from my hand onto. And that just really helps you get a clearer, cleaner stamped image when you are using them. And again, I'm not going for perfection when I'm stamping. If I want perfection or something closer to perfection, I will print it, you know, design it in Photoshop or something like that. But for stamping, I'm not going for that. But it does help to get a cleaner, crisper image, and helps from keeping your, oftentimes your brand new stamps will stick to your paper, and then that can like tear up the first layer of paper and create a whole mess. So what I realized is that I'm not going to have enough room to do count down. So I switched it over to do counting down the days. And so instead of countdown to Christmas or countdown something, so I started spreading out my letters, realizing that I had more space since I was doing a shorter word, but not realizing I got a little too comfortable and arrogant there with the space. So there's a lot of space between the N and the T when I'm stamping, and I actually have to squish my G in there at the end. So that, shame on me for thinking I had a bit more space than I did, but that's fine. And I don't mind the squishiness of it. And after a couple of days of it living in my album, I really don't mind that. So yeah, I'm just stamping it out and finishing up here. And then what I'm going to do, there's a stamp set that I know I want to use from Allie that will help finish off this statement. Yeah, so I was trying to think if I have anything else to say about this. Not really. I'm here, I'm gonna put down a piece of paper because the G does go off the edge. And so I don't want to get that red ink all over my desk that will then get all over every project I make from here on out. So that helps with that. All right, cool. So we've got counting there. And then I want it to say something like down the days. Yep, here we go, perfect. All right, this is an old Allie stamp set. And this stamp right here, counting down the days. So what I'm gonna do is just use the down the days part. And if you're wondering, I am using the acrylic blocks from Stampin' Up. I really like, I mean, I'm not going to talk a ton about stamping in this video, but I really like how thick they are. So you can see a little bit here. They are probably, well, let's see. They are all just about 3/4 of an inch thick, and they have this really nice, like lip all the way around them that is perfect for holding your fingers in there. I have tried some stamp blocks from other companies, and many times they're very thin, and I find that my fingers get in the way, and that can be problematic when I'm stamping. These are nice and thick. They have a sort of grip on them, and they're high quality. Definitely worth the investment. So with this stamp set, or with this stamp, I only want the down the days part, and I think I'm probably going to try to stamp in, I don't know if I have a dark green like this. So maybe I'll just do black. My go-to black is Ranger Archival ink in jet black. And what I am going to do, since I only want the down the days part, is I am just going to ink up that part of the stamp. The nice thing about using clear stamps is that you can see everything that you're doing. So you can see there I've got ink just on the down the days part where I want it. And so I'm going to stamp that. I think maybe, maybe down here. Counting down the days. That is cute. All right. I am really glad that worked out perfect, because count down the days would not have worked. This worked out kind of perfectly, not having as much space as I originally thought I would. All right, so stamping is done. Now let's attach these guys. So again, I'm using these are Recollections brand. They are gold glitter stars. And I am going to get out my piercing mat again. And the nice thing about this is it's large enough that like most of my paper will fit on there. And using my piercing tool. Again, these tools are from Stampin' Up. And so I'm going to use this as a guide, sort of line it up over my photo so that my photo is not really showing through, pierce through, and then use the brad to hold it in place. Oops. Sorry for my head. And then it should swivel up to reveal the kiddos underneath. Yay! And that's a great way to, you know, the kids were only 2 of them are siblings. So they come from 3 different households. And then there's the picture of Ruby and I. And so, that can, you know, the pictures aren't all the same quality. They don't have the same coloring, as much as I tried to get that as close as possible to each other when I edited them. So this is a great way to not have all of that distraction happening there. I might just put his in place. And then I'll, because I can always just take this apart and add the photo underneath. But anyway, so this is a great way to sort of have a uniform look without the distraction of like all the, you know, the girls are wearing all different shades of pink, and some of the photos were taken during the day and some of them were taken at night. And so this sort of hides those imperfections, but I still have those photos to view without them really being like hidden away. And the stars are so cute. I debated on using them because I only have the 1 pack. I could order more, I suppose. And I was like, you know what? No, use it. Use it or lose it, right? I'm trying to be better about using up what is in my stash, or you know, using up the products that I purchase, so that what I've learned and figured out about myself is that they make me far happier, as happy as beautiful products make me when they're like in my organizational system and in my stash. They make me far happier when I see them in my albums. So I have sort of relied on that fact a little bit more heavily this year. All right, so that is the right-hand side of my page done, with the exception of that photo, which will get added later. So yeah, there's all the little tags, and so they just sort of swivel up out of the way. Kind of covered up my husband's face, which is unfortunate there, but that's okay. I don't think he'll mind. These you may just have to spin, you know, we may have to finagle a little bit just because of the limited space, but really, really happy with that. All right, so I can put this guy away. And on this side, it's going to go on the back of this page, but I want to kind of jazz it up first and get it ready to go first, in case I want to do any stapling or anything like that, so that I don't have to worry about it going through the other page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tuck my journaling sort of behind. I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I'm going to use the story sticker tab here. And I'm just going to put that right in the center. Fold it over. I'm actually going to staple it in place because you could use red line tape too. That would hold nicely, but these tabs sometimes over time come loose for me. You know, they're just a sticker, and so with wear and tear as you're pulling it in and out. So that's going to kind of go back there like so. And then I'm going to adhere the giant to strategically on my thing here, but I wanted to use one of these, at least one of these, perforated, craft perforated word strips. I love this product. I've got black ones with gold foiled print on them from a couple of years ago, and some for, I think, Week in the Life or something else. So starting new stories, maybe there. It needs something. It needs an embellishment of some sort. So let's see what we've got. Oh, I could do, oops. I could do one of those gold stars to sort of carry that over. That's a possibility. And I could do a piece of chipboard. What kind of chipboard? Not a star, because I'm doing a star there already. Maybe this guy? That's kind of cute. A little stacked up little mini like collage there. All right, I think I'm gonna do that. So will this adhere just straight to this? Not too shabby. Oh, I'm gonna do red line tape on this word strip because I want it to stay in place since it'll be on top of the page. I'm just gonna put it on the heart where I want it to be. These are Stampin' Up! Used to make these scissors. I'm not sure if they still do. They're great for cutting sticky things like red line tape. Tim Holtz also makes a pair that are not perforated, but they have some texture to them when they cut. And I also have those. I like those as well. Just punching a little hole through the felt number so that I have a place to put my brad. Yeah, that's really cute. Okay, love when a plan comes together. So then I want this to go right about here. I'm trying to think of how. I think I'm gonna use red line tape to adhere it because I don't really want to use a staple. So I bought this giant roll of red line tape on Amazon. It should last forever. One thing I like about this, it was just a generic brand. I don't think it was like a name brand or anything. Is that the backing comes off really easily. So that's really, really nice. Is this gonna work? Yeah. Okay. If you are using red line tape on these numbers, just make sure you press down really generously on it to sort of get it sticking to the felt. You could probably also do like a wet glue of some sort if you wanted to. I don't like to fuss with wet glue if I don't have to. Okay. Oops. I am going to lose these word strips. They're getting stuck to the bottom of all my packages. Okay, so let's just take off the like plastic backing on the other thing is like This stuff is thicker, which I'm not crazy about. The actual like tape itself is thicker, but these come off so easy and they're not very staticky. I find that the thinner stuff is much more staticky. All right, so kind of going right about here with it. And that way nothing is going through on the back. Let me, I'll punch my holes, I guess, once I have this attached. Yeah. So what I want to do next is I want to adhere this back to back, but I also need to leave a space for my journaling pull out here. So what I will do is flip it over, and this is roundabout sort of where I want my journaling to go. So then I'm just going to use, I am going to use red line tape for this. I just want it to make sure it stays. Again, when you're pulling things in and out, I want to make sure that that is all okay. So I'm just going to create a pocket that's just a little bit bigger using the red line tape than what I need it to be spatially for this card. And this is a 4x6 card here. And so this will not only act as a sort of gutter for the journaling, like, you know, it sort of is like its own pocket back here. It will also keep the pages together. So kind of dual purpose, which I like. And using the red line tape around that is probably strong enough, but I'm just going to use regular rolling adhesive around the rest of it to attach it to the back of that other page, because this will be strong enough to keep it in place. Press it all down, make sure you've got a good stick before removing the backing. And oh, come on. There we go. All right, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna, it is the right way, right? Okay, I'm gonna do this. So when I sewed this, it got a little warped here, and this piece is really thick. So you can see here that the page is sort of bending. So I just wanna sort of set this page to the new one versus the other way around, in hopes that that might help with sort of keeping the other page from warping the same way. I mean, it's gonna happen, but it's okay. I don't love that, but I love the piece that's in there. And then I'm just gonna trim off, this has a little bit of the edge hanging over, and just try to clean that up a little bit. All right. Let's do that little top piece there too. That's just, you know, prints being sort of trimmed down slightly different sizes, even though they're the same type print. Okay, so then my journaling will slide right in there. And the tab will stick out, and if it pushes all the way down, that's as far as it'll go. So you can still see that there's a tab there. And here is the finished pages. So this is day number 2 in my December daily. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and thanks for watching.